Crystal Palace. And Leeds United against Manchester City. And who can ignore Newcastle? Certainly not us. We have their game at Aston Villa and a special look at current hotshot Robert Lee. We'll have all the other goals as usual and the thoughts of H&B. Right, we begin with Arsenal against Crystal Palace. Palace looking for their first win in the Premiership this season, and at Highbury was Tony Gubbert.
Ian Wright can complete a century of goals for Arsenal today if he scores against his old club, Crystal Palace. Wright's 2 goals in the Cup Winners' Cup tie against Nicosia moved him onto that milestone, and he's recovered from an injury picked up in the game to take his place in an Arsenal side which again shows just one change, despite this being the 3rd match in the space of 6 days. Andy Linnigan, who came on as a substitute for Martin Keown in midweek, retains that place. And since Paul Davis got back into the team, Arsenal have won all 3 matches without conceding a goal. Well, Crystal Palace, who are still looking for a first win since their return to the Premier Division, have been tagged young and inexperienced by their manager Alan Smith. They've only managed 4 goals between them this season, and they badly need Chris Armstrong to end the leanest goal-scoring spell of his career. It's just 1 in 8 so far. The referee today, Mr. Martin Boddenham from Lewin, Cornwall. And it's a sign of just how busy things are here at Highbury at the moment. It's only 41 hours since Arsenal completed the Cup Winners' Cup business against Nicosia. As Lee Dixon puts it out for the first corner. And Crystal Palace will remember the last league fixture they played here. They lost 3-0 and were relegated. And a few weeks later, their manager Steve Coppell resigned. In comes the ball from the first corner, out by Adams. Solarco. Play is waved on by Mr. Boddenham. Selly, who got his body in front of Solarco. And Dar was very tight to Dean Gordon on that left side. Nicely nicked away by Gordon, but he had to check back. Swartz stuck with him, and now Dixon can clear the danger. And Patterson not standing on ceremony. Happy to put that one out and concede the throw. George Graham, the most successful manager in the history of Arsenal, already finding something to get on the phone about. Wright. First shot from Ian Wright, stung the fingers of Nigel Martyn, but it was just where the keeper would have wanted it. Well, it will be an afternoon of mixed emotions for Ian Wright if he records that 100th goal. He's played in 141 matches for Arsenal so far. Davis. That might fall nicely for Smith. Here's Wright! Is this the 100? It's the side netting, and Ian Wright and the Arsenal faithful have to wait a little bit longer. They know it's inevitable, and it will arrive eventually, but they thought it had then. Wright stole on, he got round Nigel Martyn, lifted it beyond the angle of post and bar. Oh, he's kept possession, and that's a good ball out wide. Solarco, he's got Southgate in the middle, and Dar's there. Armstrong's up in support as well. Twisting and turning, and twice just failing to deliver the cross that was needed. But that's when Palace have looked dangerous, when they've broken from the halfway line with pace. And that was not a push in the back of Armstrong, although it certainly looked to have been one. Here's Merson. Smith was in there. And just the one front player for Crystal Palace. And maybe Armstrong is the only one they'll need. Solarco was offside, the flag went up straight away. But you can see Palace scoring in this match. Chris Armstrong peeling off wide. He was a solitary attacker for a long time there, but he held up possession until Solarco arrived, and it was a tight decision. Schwartz took it off him. In it comes. Out by Richard Shaw. Again, Paul Davis just claiming possession and putting Arsenal back on the attack. Smith. Not forward there. There's a good chase on here. Linnigan in pursuit of Armstrong. He won't catch him. Into the penalty area. Off the post. Solarco. Palace have scored. And it was another one of those quick breaks from the halfway line. They were maybe a little fortunate in the original build-up. But it never looked as though Linnigan would catch Chris Armstrong. And as they got closer to the penalty area, the distance was growing. He'd beaten Seaman, didn't beat the woodwork. But who's there? Solarco, 1-0. Palace had scored their 5th goal of the season since their return to the Premier Division, and they're leading Arsenal 1-0. Armstrong, Southgate, supported by Newman, made it difficult for Undar. That's Gordon. Undar nicely through. Gordon. He just wanted too many touches, but Palace are still keeping the pressure on. Southgate. I'm not sure whether David Seaman saw that late. It was a fine save from a snapshot by the Palace captain, and Seaman having to go full length. There were certainly 1 or 2 players offside, but referee and linesman agreeing that at that stage they weren't interfering with play. And referee had a good view of the tussle between Smith and Southgate. And maybe as George Graham looks at this match, will begin to feel that the exertions of 3 games in the space of 6 days are visible. Arsenal don't look totally in control at the back, and it will be understandable if 1 or 2 players are getting a little bit tired. And hit the back of Winterburn. Armstrong, and it hit the hand of the defender as well, but it surely couldn't have been intentional. Ian Wright was nicked away from him off the foot of the defender, so it'll be an Arsenal throw. Winterburn to lift it into the penalty area. Smith to try and flick on. Merson! Coleman blocked it. Corner. Well, Alan Smith won't be disappointed with the way his team have performed in this first half, especially when so many of them are so young. Adams won it. Nigel Martin relieved that Adams directed it over his crossbar. Patterson, fortunate that his captain was there. And 1 or 2 tackles flying in, and here's Armstrong breaking down the right. He's got Solarco in the middle. Solarco! It was pin precision, and Palace lead 2-0, and George Graham, pointing there, knows where his team went wrong, but it's too late to put it right now. And Chris Armstrong may not be getting on the score sheet himself this season, but he's an unselfish provider. Look how precise that was to Solarco. Scoring the goal was the easiest bit. What a duo, and what a good job they're doing for Palace. Ian Wright, look how quickly Shaw came out to him. There's an offside flag up against Arsenal, which the referee has now acknowledged. Richard Shaw. Well, Arsenal came into this match having scored 17 goals in the last 5 games against Crystal Palace. But what a turn-up in the first half. Alan Smith's side well deserving to be ahead by 2-0. John Salako, on the anniversary of the day when he picked up that really serious injury which nearly ended his career, with 2 first-half goals to leave Arsenal asking all sorts of questions in the dressing room. Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 2. And it's a bold hand by Arsenal, because Kevin Campbell is on at the start of the second half as a replacement for Paul Davis, as Arsenal revert to a 4-3-3. Ian Wright, Merson, who's wide on this left side. And there are a few more bodies in there for Arsenal to look for now. Here's Wright, brings it out to Dixon. Selly. It's Patterson who took it off him. And Salako to get Palace going again. Armstrong. Adams, who covered. Well, the venom was directed at teammates who weren't where Adams thought they should be. Campbell on it, then Selly. Adams! Well done, Darren Patterson. Adams looked as though he was going to get goal number 4 of this season. But it was the right-back Patterson who thwarted him. Wright just helping it on with the forehead to Merson, into the penalty area, left-footed. Patterson got in the way, corner. It's a real test of Palace's resolve. Linnigan backed header, Adams grew, but he didn't quite get tall enough. But it was the 2 central defenders, again involved in that attack for Arsenal. Linnigan helped it on, Adams was there. Dixon knew where Campbell was. He's turned and picked up a bit of pace as well, Campbell. Wright lays it out. Dixon. Selly. Came off the defender. Arsenal force another corner. It's a good spell for Arsenal. They'll be disappointed if they don't get something from this spell of pressure at the start of the second half. Shot was saved on the line by Martin. Merson, who had the shot right through a crowded penalty area, and it was a fine stop by Nigel Martin. Armstrong. Well, he's holding back because there's nobody in a good position to give it to, and then a misunderstanding. Schwartz for Wright. Patterson's with him, still Wright, still twisting and turning. Well, it's a much better fixture, this, than you could really have expected when you see that one of the 2 teams involved are second bottom in the Premier Division. Arsenal themselves only in 14th place. Here's Smith. Schwartz. Selly. Schwartz just knocking it in. Wright. Great strike! Super shot. Even better save. Martin with the fists clenched, tight together in front of his face. And there was so much pace on the shot that Martin's save saw the ball cannon out for a throw-in. He has to reach across. He's done it now. Ian Wright has claimed the ball. Arsenal have got the goal, and Ian Wright has recorded his 100th goal since he joined Arsenal. Martin kept the shot out a few seconds earlier, but the ball to the back post had him beaten, and Ian Wright is acclaimed all around Highbury. It's a milestone in a marvellous career, and it's taken him just 142 games to score 100 goals. You'd have to feel sorry for Palace if they don't get at least something out of this match, but anything is now possible. Salako to run at Adams. Salako! He was in full flow and always looked likely to get around Tony Adams with the ball at his feet, forcing the defender to backpedal, showing it to him, then knocking it past, and then just sweeping it wide of the post. Corner, despite whatever Dean Gordon says. There's Armstrong, who stayed upfield, and if Palace get possession, he'll be the player they're looking for. Schwartz. Dixon knocks it up. It's a real scramble. The shot was deflected. Merson who hit it, and the deflection would have been cruel on Nigel Martin if he'd have evaded him. Good strike by Merson. Meanwhile, Salako torments them at the other end, and that was dipping wickedly. Winterburn. Adams is staying forward now permanently. There he is, over the top. Campbell! Wonderful save by Martin. Adams is forward, constantly now to cause confusion. Campbell profited, but what a fantastic save from the first goalkeeper, who cost £1 million. Schwartz. Here's Winterburn. Merson. Oh, came off the knees of Gordon, and Patterson just toes it out. As Winterburn lifts it in to try and find Smith. Armstrong is the only player forward for Crystal Palace, but Salako's arrived in the middle. And with the clock running down towards the last minute, Palace were happy just to put it out for a throw. Oh, I hope he's not leaving. Campbell. That's awkward. Wright was there. So too was Martin with another save. Alan Smith hardly able to contain his anxiety. Adams. Here's Armstrong. Time perhaps for Arsenal to launch just one more attack. Mr. Boddenham having a good look at the watch, and the whistle's in the mouth, and Crystal Palace have recorded their first win of the season. Alan Smith's side, second bottom with just 4 points before today, have beaten Arsenal here at Highbury. The first time they've enjoyed a league victory at Highbury, and it couldn't have come at a better time for Palace. Salako's 2 first-half goals proving sufficient. Ian Wright recorded the milestone of his century of goals in an Arsenal shirt, but it's overshadowed by the final scoreline of Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 2.
What was the key to your victory today, do you think?
I think they just worked hard. You know, we passed the ball around a little bit. Our midfield were very good today. They looked to keep trying to play it to feet first half and not just balloon the ball anywhere. And I think Shaw and Coleman at the back were nice and solid.
The game was lost in the first half. I thought Palace actually were fantastic. Some of the football they played, and justifiably went up 2-0 at half time. But that wasn't the normal Arsenal side in the first half. But I don't want to take any credit away from Palace. They played well. They got us at the right time, and they punished us for it.
Now you sat John Solarco down in the week, didn't you, and asked him where he wanted to play?
Well, I did. He came out with about 3 positions there because that's John. He's that talented.
Well, the goalkeeper wasn't included, was he?
But he has played there, Tony. I have to say that. You know, he can play in most positions. But I've tried to put him up front this season, and for one reason or another, it hasn't worked. And it was 3 years to the day that he did that injury. And from my point of view, you know, it's a good day. You know, Ian Wright's got his 100th goal, and I've got to say I'm pleased for him. And in many ways, it's lovely that we've come away for the win and he got the 100th goal against us. So, you know, all round, I'm quite delighted.
But it was only 41 hours after the end of the game against Nicosia when you kicked off a Premier League game here against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, but I mean, people will turn around and say, stop whinging. You know, you're lucky to be successful. What I'd like to see is, I'd like to see somebody like the Premier League actually say, if any team plays in Europe on a Thursday, then they have got the right to change the game to a Sunday. It doesn't matter what anybody else says, because it's not only good for Arsenal, I think it's good for the English teams and English football. The English teams in Europe do well.
Well, Trevor, that was the great home banker and all went wrong for Arsenal. I think you feel that they contributed to their own downfall somewhat, did you?
Well, I think George admitted the first half they didn't do themselves justice. I mean, that's not taking it away from Palace, who played very well. But if you looked at the balance of the team, they had 3 central midfielders very close together, and then the 3 forward players also playing through a sort of middle of the pitch, and so they desperately lacked width. And there were many examples of that, really, in that first half. I think here, when Tony Adams heads it forward, you can see 3 central midfielders, Paul Davis, Stefan Schwarz and Ian Selly, all close together. It goes further forward, and there's again the 3 forward players, Wright, Smith and Merson, again too close and no one providing the width. Here, when it's headed forward, look at the number of players look through the middle of the pitch. You can't build up any passing movements. If you're a midfield player, where do I pass it? So he goes to Lee Dixon, he's got no one outside him, he knocks it in there, and in the end he tries to provide the width, although the move breaks down. And it was the 2 fullbacks, Lee Dixon and Nigel Winterburn, who were trying to get forward. There's Winterburn heading it forward to right. He's got no one really outside him. Winterburn goes on the overlap, but he comes inside, Ian Wright, he loses possession, and of course once it breaks down, Palace capitalised on it and then used the space down the flanks, you know, where the fullbacks weren't. And then they got eventually punished with a vital second goal just before half-time. I mean, again here, look at the cluster of players through the centre. Where's the width? Where can you spread play? And again, Arsenal lose possession. Nigel Winterburn has crept up to give them that bit of width, and there Southgate knocks it into that space. I mean, Chris Armstrong looks up, he's got plenty of time. Solarco comes in, and at that stage, 2-0, it's a long haul back. But to their credit, then George did change it at half-time. He brought Campbell on, give them width on the right. Merson went wide on the left and took Paul Davis, one of those 3 central midfielders, off. And it became a siege, really, in the second half.
It was rather like the Alamo the second half, and they could well have got back in it, couldn't they?
Well, probably Ian Wright's goal came a little bit late if they'd have got that earlier. But, I mean, one sort of man who did keep them at bay, and it's good to see him in such good form again, was Nigel Martin, I thought. He's had a couple of years, and he used to be in the old England squad, and then because they got relegated, and now he looks back in the Premier League as if he's certainly enthusiasm. He got down very well to that low shot, and then at this angle you can see, I mean, he's a big keeper, comes through a ruck of players and at full stretch palms it away. And again, Ian Wright, he's looking for that 100th goal. This one he spins on the edge of the penalty area, a good save, dive into his left. In fact, that was where he then headed in at the far post, so he might not have sort of wasted his time. This is the best one, though. I mean, Kevin Campbell's strike there, full stretch, and it is 2-1 at that stage, so it's important. And again, look at the deflection there. I mean, it hits it well, but gets his palm to it. And again, a great victory. Palace, funnily enough, they're sort of not lost away from home and can't quite get it right at home, but an important first win for them.
It cost a few bob once, though, Nigel Martin, didn't it? But by today's prices, I suppose he was a cheap goalkeeper.
Well, that's right. I mean, that's all in the sort of a distant memory now, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you think Arsenal have had to slightly change their style of play a little bit with the application of the rule, the new application of the rules, Alan, this time? Do you think a little bit of the vigour might have gone out of their game?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think, obviously, they're as solid as they have been in previous seasons. The 2 centre-backs usually get tight early doors and go through people. Obviously, with the new laws, they can't do that. I think they've started very tentatively. and they've just got to adjust to this. And if Arsenal are going to win anything this season, then it's imperative the centre-backs get playing.
Okay, thank you. Well, our other main feature tonight comes from Elland Road, but before that, the team of the moment. The leaders, Newcastle United, away to Aston Villa, who, like their opponents, were in superb form in the UEFA Cup this week. Barry Davis was at Villa Park.
Back to Nigel Spink, who keeps his place in goal. And he conceded a penalty in 3 matches. Free kick is to Aston Villa. Ray Houghton, one of many to have a storming game. Here's Guy Whittingham! And he just couldn't keep it down. Guy Whittingham starting a match for the first time for 7 months. Played in, but as Pavel Sternicek came to him, never looked like keeping it down. Kevin Keegan, splendid in Newcastle colours. He's free. Raw Fox. Beardsley getting up. Scott Sellers as well. And it's Sellers! And it was off the top of the crossbar. Sellers' foot coming pretty close to decapitating Peter Beardsley, who was down for the header. Raw Fox bided his time well. Beardsley wanted it, and they both went together and off the top of the crossbar. Scott Sellers' foot that made the contact. Parker, Townsend, Houghton, lovely touch. Whittingham! Good stop by Sternicek, who read it well. With a good chance. Whittingham trying to guide it past. Good ball it was by Houghton, and a good stop by Sternicek. Cole. Played by Cole. Beardsley's made the forward run. Lee is in here as well. Didn't quite have enough pace on the pass. And that contributed to the fact that when digging it out, he got underneath it. Philippe Albert, not entirely happy, I don't think, in the Barry Venison role. Nice little flick on to Fox. Balanced himself. Oh, good try by Andy Cole and a good stop. Really quick thinking by Andy Cole as the ball was played to him. Speed of shot, side foot effort of considerable power. York. Lee. Fox. In for Lee again. Cole for Belshall! And Robert Lee for the second Saturday running. Goal number 11 of the season for Robert Lee. Cole was calling for it. I don't know whether that took the eye of one or two. Fox, who played it in, there was an unfortunate slip, and full advantage was taken because the man in front of Lee suddenly wasn't blocking the route to goal. And Lee was very quick to seize the opportunity to beat Nigel Spink. Goal in the 21st minute of the second half. Cole managing amazingly to keep his feet under pressure from McGrath. Kitson. Cole. 2-0. The Newcastle supporters on their feet, acclaiming their hero again, who did amazingly well to keep his feet. And then, when fed back by Paul Kitson, finished with a flop. Robert Lee, Andy Cole show goes on.
Yes, it's continuing, and as I say, long may it continue. At the moment, we're the people who are knocking the ball in the net, but all the boys are playing tremendously well. And the first half we struggled. Villa played tremendously well today. And it took like a bit of a rollicking from the manager at half-time to get us to pull our socks up. And I think the second half they started feeling a bit tired, and we got on top.
Well, Newcastle are flying, and so is he. And he spent a long time, a good part of his career outside the top division, didn't he, Robert Lee?
That's right. He's emerged as a hero on Tyneside, and his all-round game impresses me. He scores goals, but he gets in great positions in the box. And of course he defends well. He gets from box to box. We pick him up here. He's behind Beardsley, and watch how he drifts into the box unnoticed. Nobody picks him up. I think he's a little bit unlucky here. It comes behind him, and he just puts over the top. But he certainly works hard for the side. He's aggressive, he's determined. He's between two Villa players here, but he slides in, makes a good tackle, and he gets up quickly, reacts quickly, and plays it very simple. Here he's aware, lets it run past him. There's only one man wanting to win this, and that was Robert Lee, and then plays it forward.
He's got great balance as well, hasn't he? I mean, always knows where the space is, turns it, and then spreads it and crosses it. Good weighted cross that perhaps Andy Cole just saw a little bit late, but I mean he's been a great provider, and this season, I mean, a finisher. I mean, he's got so much confidence. He hits them from all angles, and at the moment they keep flying in. And just to make matters worse, of course, he is an East London lad. He used to support my old club, West Ham. Yes,
you could have had him for a mere pittance a few years ago.
Reminded,
now, David Platt is out of the England squad, obviously, for the forthcoming match. What about Lee? He's been in England squad before, hasn't he?
Yeah, he had an injury, had to sort of pull out. But I mean, as an attacking midfielder without David Platt, he is the obvious replacement. So I think he must have a great chance. Let's hope he stays fit.
Do you think Mr. Venables will pick him?
I would think so. Let's have to get Jim to ring him up and make sure he does.
Right, absolutely. Well, it's only 3 seasons since Leeds United won the Championship. Now they've got a rebuilt side with several outstanding new stars. Leeds at home to Manchester City today, and the commentator at Ellen Road, Clive Tilsley.
How many teams are there in the Premiership with a realistic chance of finishing the season as champions? Leeds United and Manchester City are two clubs with the will and the wherewithal to make a title challenge, but both start the day 8 points off the early pace. Howard Wilkinson fields 5 of the team that won the league in 1992. Tony DiRigo and Gordon Strachan are recovering from surgery at the moment. Chris Fairclough is back today as the midfield anchor. There's no Phil Masinga because of injury. Noel Whelan and Brian Dean lead the attack. The depth of the Manchester City squad will be tested today. Walsh, Rosler, Curl and Edgehill have all cried off during the last week. So whereas Brian Horton was sport for choice in attack, he now has to draft in 20-year-old AD Mike to partner Niall Quinn, who himself is feeling his way back from a long layoff. Terry Holbrook is the man in charge. Both clubs have had a flirtation with relegation during the last couple of years. Both happily setting their sights towards the top again. But both still in search of that extra gear which will take them up there amongst the main contenders. Ian Brightwell playing at the heart of the Manchester City defence, and Chris Fairclough playing at the heart of the Leeds midfield. Peter Beagrie, Terry Phelan, who never needs a second invitation to get forward. It's in towards Quinn. Oh, it was a decent chance too. Less than a minute gone. Really good service from one Irish World Cup star to another Irish international who would love to have been a part of the World Cup, Niall Quinn. Been mainly substitute this season after 10 months out with a very serious knee injury. Kelly to McAllister. And now Speed. Wallace. Andy Hill making sure that it doesn't reach Dean, and that the price to be paid is a Leeds United corner. Lost his place to Richard Edgehill, the youngster, last week, but Edgehill is one of Manchester City's flu victims this week. Ooh, and Palmer managed to sneak in behind Mike. And it'll be a corner on the other side of the field. You'd hardly lose Carlton Palmer in the penalty area melee, could you? Speed was closing in, but Vonk just managed to reach it. Wallace. Towards Whelan. Vonk up into the air. Coton punches. Headed by Weatherall. Header away by Vonk. Michel Vonk, the big Dutchman, had the last word there. A couple of sights of goal for Leeds United. David Weatherall denied. Nigel Worthington with the corner kick. Palmer beyond the far post has won it again. Dean tried the overhead. It was Weatherall who got in there. There's so many tall players on the field today. There's bound to be some fascinating aerial contests. Summerby. That's inviting for Quinn, but Lukic made it his own. Goalkeepers have got to take responsibility against centre-forwards of the stature of Quinn and Dean at the other end. Here is Dean. Wallace. Away by Brightwell. Oh, and they've got to be careful with his clearances, both goalkeepers, because if Quinn or Dean are bearing down on you, there's not too much room for error. There's a handball as it happened there. Vonk only as far as McAllister. Whelan! Caught it so well. Noel Whelan, rapidly developing talent. Instinctive shot, but a great piece of skill. Watched it carefully, set himself well, and forced the save from Coton. Andy Hill. Niall Quinn. Nicky Summerby. Hill towards Mike. Leeds were looking for offside, no question of that. It's a corner kick instead. Eddie Mike making only his 5th start in the Premiership. The last of them was here last December. Summerby's corner. Header away by Whelan. Brightwell trying to turn it back in. It's come only for Wallace, not much happening ahead of him, only Gary Kelly. Maybe all Leeds will need. He's very, very quick. Now he's got support. Now he's got support. Here's Whelan. Oh! End-to-end magic from Leeds United. To Noel Whelan, the plaudits of the crowd, but to Gary Kelly, so much credit. Kelly just kept on going. And when the cavalry eventually arrived, he knew where the best placed player was, and that best placed player was Noel Whelan. 4 goals already this season for a young man who supported Leeds from the terraces. Kelly. Only as far as Vonk. Only as far as Speed. Wallace. Speed. Wallace. McAllister. Nice so far. Dean. Good save by Coton. Whelan maybe. Hill was all over him and managed to get in a blocking challenge, and Manchester City have escaped with a goal kick. Lovely, slick Leeds United move. Gary McAllister setting up the chance for Brian Dean. Smart save by Coton. And Whelan still had a side of goal, but the angle wasn't good. In the end, neither was the ricochet. Charged down by Wallace. Lomas surrounded, and he's given it straight to Wallace. Not quite sure what he had in mind. Gary Speed will pick up the pieces. McAllister. Wrong-footed McMahon. Well, Gary McAllister is conjuring up all manner of things, but the angle there was mission impossible. One for Quinn to chase. Summerby trying to get up with him. Mike's there too. Here's Flitcroft. Summerby. Palmer's tackle. Steve Lomas. Well, it's, I think, a misdirected cross and forced a very good save from John Lukic. He can't have expected to have had to make that kind of stop. He was just dipping under the crossbar. Beagrie towards Quinn. Weatherall blocking out the light in the near post. Rod Wallace on the break. Gary Speed making a break to his left. Gary Kelly to his right. Here goes Kelly. A little bit short of support for now. Bob couldn't get it away. Whelan was in there, and again! Terry Phelan just managed to help it over the crossbar. Noel Whelan denied a second. Gary Kelly was again the provider, but Terry Phelan, who ran to Kelly there, then got back behind his goalkeeper. Player who actually started his career as a Leeds United player, and he and Coton both got a touch. Nigel Worthington has come across to take the Swan. Weatherall is on the near post. It's right down the throat of Tony Coton. Just kept Manchester City in the game, you feel there. Still very much a factor whilst it remains at 1-0. Kelly. Towards Dean. Worthington providing good support. Noel Whelan chested down beautifully for Gary Speed. Deserved better, really. Speed has got as good an eye for goal as any midfield player. But beautifully set up by Noel Whelan. Good use of the chest. Speed's first touch was pretty good. His idea was right, but he didn't miss by much. Owen Quinn might make something of that off Weatherall. Good, brave goalkeeping by John Lukic. Quinn had to go for it. Leeds appealed for handball against Niall Quinn, but he charged it down honestly enough and almost made an opening from which to rescue something. Has given this one straight to Griffiths, and Palmer got back with a really well-timed challenge. And Leeds United, who've looked as comfortable as you can with a one-goal lead, are trying to commit suicide in the last 5 minutes. Kelly steaming forward, even at this late stage. It's Whelan. Now Kelly. Now Wallace. McAllister. Speed. Deflected, off the underside of the crossbar, and Manchester City's faint hopes live on. Not much in it. Tony Coton just managed to keep it on his side of the line with considerable help from his crossbar, although the deflection was unkind in the first place. Wallace. Whelan. Kelly. Stoppage time. Header away by McMahon. McAllister, he'll have a go. Charged down by McMahon. Came off speed. Whelan has turned Brightwell, and that is that. Noel Whelan seals the Leeds United victory that has owed so much to his blossoming talent. A little fortunate to get the break off Gary Speed, but he used his body well to turn Ian Brightwell, and the shot was inch perfect. "19 years of age. Manchester City were always in the game when it was 1-0, but they just haven't been able to mount sufficient threat really to Leeds in this second half, and it's the form book result. Leeds remain a force to reckon with here at Ellen Road, and the future looks bright whilst young players like Noel Whelan continue to develop. His contribution, along with Adam Weatherall and Kelly, outstanding. Manchester City's flimsy away form remains their Achilles heel, and of these two fringe candidates, Leeds United look the more likely title contenders today. Winners by 2-0.
What's the most difficult thing for an 18, 19-year-old trying to make his way in this league?
Just keep your head, you know, don't let things get to you. You know, I scored 2 today and that's it, it's gone now, history. Next game's coming up on Tuesday and got to try and get another 2 then.
What about from a physical point of view? Do you get overpowered by some older defenders?
Yeah, you know, I've still got a lot of growing and a lot of building up to do, and defenders have been there a long time. They're going to be a lot more physical than me, but I've just got to keep working hard and do the things I'm good at.
At home, we look like a top 2 or 3 side. I mean, we've been very impressive at home. We've got to try and transfer that into our away form. We're a little bit tentative. We discussed it in the dressing room afterwards there. Why can't we do it away from home? So that's what we'll be discussing and trying to work on the training ground for the next week.
Last season Leeds were 5th, not quite good enough. How are you better this time?
I think with the new rules this year, we're definitely trying to pass the ball more rather than hitting it up to our strikers right away. You know, we're trying to work the ball, and I think that's where we're getting better.
I mean, you do have big strikers. There's a temptation just to lamp it to them all the time.
Yeah, there is, but you know, I think we're even better when we try to get it done and play through the middle of the park.
Well, the first goal was a nice goal, but I've got a feeling you're going to take a look at it from the Manchester City point of view.
Well, I think it needs a better man than me to analyse this, because it's a City corner, and when we freeze it here, there are 11 Leeds players in their own box. Now, 5 seconds later, it's in the Manchester City net. What happens is Rod Wallace plays it to Gary Kelly. A good break, but we circle the eventual goal scorer. Now look at the space he's got to run into. Any ball played in that position through the middle, and he's in. Phelan dives in, Gary Kelly takes it. He does really well because he holds it up, waits for the support, and it comes in numbers. Phelan comes in, easy goal. But to make matters worse for City, there's 4 white jerseys in there against 2 City defenders. And it was the same in the second half when Kelly broke again the right-hand side, crossed it over, and Terry Phelan got off the line. That came again from a City corner. Unbelievable.
Leeds, though, looked pretty good on the day, didn't they? And another top performance from Mr. McAllister.
Well, he's a class act, he really is. He's got 2 good feet, he's got touch, vision, he's got awareness. What I like about him is when he comes and gets it, he can play it simple, he can play it intricately, or he can play it first time. This is great play early on. He's not in the picture here, but he runs 20 yards to close down quickly, takes off Vonk, runs through. I think he's a bit unlucky because he gets his heels clipped here, but great closing down. Now we circle him here, he has a quick look round here when the ball comes to him, just to see what's round about him. And look at this for a first time pass into space for Rodney Wallace. Terrific vision and great passing of the ball. And again, he pops up on either side. He can cross it from the right or cross it from the left. This time he's on the right hand side. Wallace plays it to him, a good Leeds movement. Great ball in, Brian Deane comes in, good hit and a good save. But it's all about passing. His passing is brilliant. And watch him move here. We circle him again. It's all about movement. He goes in tight, and then he spins away, and he's always available for colleagues. And he comes back here, and watch this for a pass. 1-2 with Worthington. Great pass into the space. And he sets him up nicely. And watch this for a pass. This is absolutely terrific. Doesn't even look up. 40, 50 yards into Brian Deane's feet. Absolutely terrific. And again, he just seems to glide across the top, away from the first man, away from the second man, always in control, ball tight at his feet, and he hits it from 25 yards. And that was the worst part of his game today. His shooting was absolutely abysmal for him. But he really is a class act.
What would you say they would need to make them championship contenders once again, Trevor?
I think just defensively now and again. I mean, they've had a good start. They beat Manchester United, and then they had a sort of lapse, didn't they, in the Coca-Cola Cup, and then a bad result at Coventry. And it's just that consistency that they're perhaps lacking, and perhaps defensively you always feel you've got a chance of scoring against them. Look at the home game against Chelsea when they played so well, and then in the second half let it slip at home.
Young Whelan's a nice find, though, isn't he?
Great, nice cushion chess play. I thought his vision and awareness was excellent for a young lad.
Well, 5 other matches today. They produced 17 goals between them, and we'll start with Blackburn trying to recover from their European disappointment away to Norwich City.
And Blackburn's miserable week continued. Following that European exit to the Swedish part-timers, today they were beaten by Norwich City. All eyes were on Chris Sutton on his return to Carrow Road, and he took just 4 minutes to make an impact. Intense pressure followed from Blackburn, but they failed to take advantage, and Norwich then drew level when Mark Bowen's determined run paid off, a little deflection helping his cause. Norwich spent part of the money they received for Chris Sutton on John Newsom, and today he scored their winner. He'd intend it. But as the saying goes, they all count.
A couple of lads in there said it's probably the worst goal they've ever seen in their career. I just slipped as I was going to hit the ball, and it hit my other foot and spun in the corner. You know, I couldn't stop laughing. You know, because it was a comical goal more than anything else. But at the end of the day, it's got us 3 points, so you know it's pleasing as well.
And it looked pretty good from a distance.
I think that's the only place it could have looked good, to be honest.
By half-time, Liverpool had conceded their first goal of the season at Anfield, and Wednesday were halfway to their second away win of the season. Mark Bright's header dropping invitingly for Ian Nolan to smash home an angled drive. And here's a Saturday night version of Come Dancing. But then things went horribly wrong for Sheffield Wednesday. 6 minutes into the second half, Kevin Pressman could only parry Bornaby's shot, and Ian Rush wasn't going to miss an opportunity like that. Steve McManaman then took over. 3 minutes after the equaliser, McManaman went on a teasing run before unleashing a superb shot. First of the month and early contender for goal of the month. McManaman is claiming a hat-trick this evening. This was his second goal, his shot taking a cruel deflection off Des Walker. Wednesday boss Trevor Francis expressed the view that it was an own goal. And 4 minutes from time, Phil Babb set up McManaman's third, or was it his second? McManaman's boss, Roy Evans, says he'll credit his player with all three. And apparently the referee endorsed McManaman's claims that he did get a hat-trick.
I've walked off at the end of the pitch with a couple of the lads, and the referee's just come over, give me the ball. So naturally I've just took it, put it under my jumper and walked off.
Everton are still rooted to the foot of the table as rumours persist tonight that manager Mike Walker's about to sign 3 players from Glasgow Rangers: Duncan Ferguson, Trevor Steven and Ian Durrant. It was Andrei Kanchelskis who made the breakthrough for Manchester United just before half-time. It wasn't, though, until 2 minutes before the end that Lee Sharp finally secured victory for Manchester United. Afterwards, Mike Walker refused to confirm that he's about to sign the trio from Glasgow after the Rangers chairman David Murray said the players would be moving to Goodison. While Mike Walker faces another anxious Saturday evening, Ozzy Ardiles will be able to sleep a little easier. Teddy Sheringham's had more than his share of troubles from 12 yards. Today he timed his volley to perfection. Tottenham's advantage lasted just 2 minutes. Neil Ardley's cross turned onto the bar by Peter Fear, and Steve Tallboys reacted first to draw Wimbledon level. Tottenham's winner was one to savour, the new boys responsible, Jurgen Klinsmann's pass, and Georgi Popescu scored a memorable first goal in English football. Southampton's excellent run continues, their 8th tonight, and manager Alan Ball quick to point out it's the first time they've been that high for several seasons. All the goals came in the second half, the first from Neil Maddison. Then what tough luck on Matt Le Tissier. The crossbar intervened. But Ronnie Eklund on his home debut had a day to remember, reacting superbly to score his second goal for Southampton. Alarm bells started to ring though for the home side. Ian Marshall arrived off the substitute bench to pull back a goal for Ipswich. It was left to Ian Dowie to settle Southampton's nerves with a third a minute from time. They've won 4 out of their last 5. Happy days on the south coast.
Well, if goals got points for technical merit, I think we saw a 1 and a 10 amongst that lot, didn't we, Trev? Have a go at the 1 first.
Yeah, I've got a feeling you mean John Newsom's one. I mean, yeah, it was a delicate chip, wasn't it? Typical central defender, don't you agree, Al?
You would have been happy with that goal, Trevor, wouldn't you?
I was happy with any goal.
Well, I was happy with any goal as well. I would have been happy with McManaman's goal. It's a great pass from Molby, right to McManaman's feet. The defender's back off, he comes in and he attacks him, keeps going, and he just buries it. A fantastic goal from a player in form. And I've been critical of McManaman in the past because I know how good he can be. He's been frustrating for the last couple of years, but he played well against Manchester United and Newcastle in successive weeks. And if he keeps playing like that, then he'll have a chance of getting an Invenables squad.
OK. Now, you may not have won on the premium bonds today, but someone has won £500 worth of premium bonds in our Goal of the Month competition. This was the correct result of last month's competition. Goal 2, Goal 8 and Goal 9. Danny Baker got it wrong again.
Spackman helping it on. Just hooked in, and Cole wasn't offside. On the left foot. Oh, superb! Magnificent strike by Andy Cole.
And our computer picked out the name of Kevin Chilton from Coles Hill. The dosh is on its way to you, sir, and many congratulations. Now, the league tables tonight. Leaders Newcastle made it 7 wins out of 8 today. They've established a clear lead at the top, 5 points. Blackburn's defeat at Norwich means Forest can move up to second when they play QPR tomorrow. And champions Manchester United stay 4th, with Liverpool up to 5th now. The other end, it looks like this. Everton are now the only Premiership side without a win following Crystal Palace's victory at Arsenal. Leicester, West Ham and Coventry did not play today. So, Newcastle continue to set the pace, 5 points clear, and they're flying. Only 34 games to go. Why aye?